It's another beautiful baseball night in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. The Braves and Astros getting ready for our tilt tonight. Glad you're with us here at Champion Stadium. Our second spring training telecast featuring the Braves hosting the Houston Astros. And good evening, Braves country, with Dale Murphy and Joe Simpson, Chip Carey. Our second broadcast. We hope this one goes as well as the first one. Braves picked up their second win of the spring 2 nights ago. And tonight, Joe, we get our first look at Tommy Hanson.
Well, and everybody knows Tommy Hanson had quite a year going last year, Chip, until shoulder tendonitis injury really waylaid his season. Only 22 starts. He did win 11 ball games. And the thing that really stood out when I was looking at some numbers from last year, when he went 6 or more innings, he was 11-1. So hopefully there'll be more of that this year. And he and Roger McDowell have worked real hard to alter his delivery a little bit. We'll see some signs of that tonight. We'll see him spread out a little bit on the mound, a little wider stance, and we'll see if the results are there.
Results certainly were there for Jason Hayward the other night, Murph. Braves country looking to see Jason rebound from a rough second season in the big leagues. Had a big home run the other night.
That's right, Chip. He looked great. The analyzation of Jason Hayward's swing goes on again tonight. Hit a couple bullets the other night. One was this home run. And I think what Greg Walker's looking for is a fluid swing where the bottom half of his body and the upper half work together. And that's what we've seen so far. We'll see it again tonight.
And another challenge for Jason and the rest of the Braves. A tough left-hander, Wandy Rodriguez, will pitch for the visiting Houston Astros. Glad you're with us here at Walt Disney World. It's the Braves and the Astros. Starting lineup, some more coming right up. Perfect baseball night at Lake Buena Vista, Florida. Wind blowing gently in from left toward the Braves dugout on the first base side of things here at Champion Stadium. Let's see if the Braves can pick up win number 3 on the spring. And we're always delighted to be joined by the 4th member of our broadcast team tonight, Jordan Whitley. Hi, Jordan.
Well, the fans have been lighting up the Twitter board, and the conversation has absolutely skyrocketed since Wednesday. And it's all about this emerging battle that is happening between Tyler Pasternicki and, of course, Andrelton Simmons, the newbie out here. Now, everyone's basically wondering who it's going to be come opening day. And I saw Simmons on Wednesday. He came off the field, and he was just so happy. He was grinning from ear to ear, just covered in sweat. And he knew that it's game on. So that leads us to our question tonight for at Fox Sports South. And here it is. Braves fans, the season begins in less than 3 weeks. So what is it going to take to win the starting shortstop position? Be sure to reply to us tonight at Fox Sports South using the hashtag FSBraves. Chip, nothing like a little healthy competition to light a fire.
I've got to compliment you, Jordan, on your poise with Peter Moylan, poised like a vulture over your left shoulder.
Lord, it's my new best friend.
So what do you think, fellas? The shortstop position still up for grabs so far this spring?
I think it's wonderful. Anytime you've got a competition for a job and guys going at it head-to-head, it always inspires people to maybe play a little better and get ready for the start of the season. So I think it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. It's fun to watch these two guys battle it out.
So Tommy Hanson ready to throw for the Braves tonight. Made one rain-shortened start so far this spring. And he'll face his former teammate, Jordan Schaefer. Leads things off for the Astros tonight.
Not much work for Tommy after the car accident because of the concussion that resulted from the car accident. So literally his first start of the spring. Says he feels good, ready to go. His keys tonight. We'll get to those after this next pitch. His 4 keys to success. Obviously, we'll keep a close eye on his new delivery that he's worked hard on with Roger McDowell. You'll see most of that change in his stretch, not so much in the windup. And try not to overthrow. You know he's anxious to get out there. Just try to stay within himself here in his first few innings.
High hopper over first, and Schaefer is going to give an extra base hit a try. Jason Hayward's throw a little off target. And Jordan Schaefer's had a good spring for the Astros. Leads the game off with a double.
You got to play in close because he might bunt, and because of that he's able to bounce one right over the top of Freddie's head.
Well, everybody in the Braves organization knows Jordan can fly. He puts it on the ground, and that's a for sure double if he's going to get it over Freddie's head.
And so now, fellas, here is Tommy Hanson into the stretch for the first time. Let's see how different he looks from last year. Jason Bourgeois is the Astros left fielder and in the batter's box.
What Roger McDowell told me this afternoon, fellas, is that they're endeavoring to broaden the stance in the stretch to try to accelerate his lower half, to try to get his legs moving quicker, which will automatically make the arm action a little faster. But they're also trying to eliminate that pause he has when he gets his arm back behind his shoulder. And most definitely at first glimpse here, a wider stance when he comes set.
1 ball, 1 strike to Bourgeois, who's played with 6 different big league organizations, including the Braves. He was in the Braves minor leagues back in 2005. He's hitting .235 so far this spring. And hits one into the air to Jason Hayward in right. Schaefer will tag, and he'll stand at third base with 1 out. So Bourgeois productive out. Travis Buck, the DH.
Joe, the wider stance, does that help his lower body get involved, or does it speed up his lower body? What was Roger saying about the wider stance?
That was what Roger was telling me, that he feels like by spreading his stance out a little bit, it's going to create a little quicker action with his legs to the plate. He'll speed up his lower half, shorten his leg kick a little bit. He's not going to be able to kick quite as high, and thereby accelerate and speed up his arm action and make him quicker to the plate, which is the reason for it altogether.
Buck at .222 on the spring, and you saw that graphic. 30 out of 33 were opposing base stealers against Tommy Hanson last year. Pops back our way.
Tommy started the season 1-3. Then he went on a real hot streak, and then the shoulder tendonitis came to call and really slowed down his season, and he finished his last 4 decisions. He was 1-3 again. So in between, he was outstanding. It was just a shame that he couldn't pitch through the tendonitis until he got to a point in August where he couldn't pitch anymore.
Didn't get the corner inside. 2 balls and a strike. Greg Gibson is the home plate umpire tonight. Lance Barksdale, Sam Holbrook, and Larry Vanover join him on the bases here at Disney. And a 2-out hit for Buck gives Houston an early lead. So Schaefer scores. 1-0 Astros.
Like an off-speed pitch that he left up. But again, he pitched an inning and part of another in a game that was rained out. Turned out that was the same day Wandy Rodriguez was supposed to pitch for the Astros, and his start got rained out as well. So this is the first real action for Hanson in decent conditions all spring.
You're right, Joe. That ball was up, and that first game was ridiculous. The mound was muddy. I was surprised they were even playing. The conditions were terrible, especially for his first start. So this really, like you said, is his first official start.
Carlos Lee, the batter. Carlos, for so many years a left fielder or a DH in the American League, is making the move to first base full time for the Astros this year, and this is final contract season for Houston. And Tommy quickly ahead of him, a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, the Astros lost 106 games last year, and they had a lot of young players. More than 20 rookies played at one time or another for them last year, which is unbelievable. So they need a lot of work from Carlos Lee. They need big numbers from him again this year.
Just missed the inside corner. 2-2.
Fastball's got some life to it. He's been around 91, 92 so far. Just that one mistake with the changeup.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. The throw to second is not in time. So Carlos Lee strikes out for the second out, and Travis Buck in safely with a stolen base.
Well, our first look at a stolen base attempt again against him, and again see the wide stance in an effort to try to speed up. Travis Buck, not a big base stealer, but got in there under that one.
So Brian Bogusevich bats. He's hitting $176 on the spring. And ball one. Joe mentioned the Astros 106 losses last year. First time in the 50-year history of the franchise they had 100 or more losses in a year.
Their new GM, Jeff Luhnow, described their spring training as competition. That was the whole theme. Without outside of Carlos Lee and probably second base and shortstop, there's going to be competition for virtually every other spot, and including spots in the rotation and their bullpen. You lose 106, you're trying to find some people who want to play, who can play, and they brought 61 guys to camp this spring.
Got a lot of hungry guys in their minor leagues looking for a shot to make it. A lot of opportunities.
High fly ball toward left. Martin Prado is there, and in the bright sunny skies makes the catch to retire the side. A run on 2 hits. Houston strikes first. Braves come up for their first look at Wandy Rodriguez. First inning run, but here's how Freddie Gonzalez lines the Braves up for tonight's ball game. The Braves 2-11 so far in the spring. Former Astro Michael Bourne leads things off. Martin Prado's had a terrific spring for Atlanta. When last we saw the Braves play, both Jordan Perez and Jason Hayward hit homers. Love to see that tonight. And another look at Andy Simmons, as Chipper calls him. He'll be the shortstop in bat ninth tonight.
Wandy Rodriguez on the mound for the Astros. He's been around a while. 30 starts last year, was their pitcher of the year, going 11-11.
Michael Bourne hits it into the air to center field, where Jordan Schaefer camps out.
Wandy Rodriguez now 33 years old, 5'11", 195 out of Dominican. His 4 keys to success tonight. He came into camp with a sore back, so he didn't get the first start of spring training. They waited on him a little while. And then again, his second outing was the same day Hansen got washed out. So he's a little slow getting some innings in, but I think he's one of the more underrated left-handed pitchers, especially in the National League. Tough guy. He's got a lot of different pitches, fastball, curveball, slider, and an excellent changeup.
Misses high to Martin Prado to start the game tonight. Martin's had a terrific spring at 367, a couple of RBIs. Quick look at Houston's defensive lineup. Schwa, Schaefer, and Bogusevich in the outfield. Told you Carlos Lee's playing first base. They're taking a long look at Brett Wallace, the former first baseman, over at third. And Jed Lowry, the former young Boston Red Sox, is going to be their starting shortstop, it appears. Brad Mills knows him well. Brad was the bench coach for Terry Francona when Lowry was coming up. And Martin puts a charge into that ball to left center. But with wind blowing in, Bourgeois tracks it down for the second out.
Martin has centered so many balls this spring. I started thinking, I don't remember hitting the ball very consistently during spring training, but sometimes early in spring you're hitting so good you're thinking, maybe I better slow it down. Get into a slump in the middle of spring and have to get out of that. I think he just missed that one. I mean, that ball was hit better with the wind blowing in. That's got a shot at going out. He's a little disgusted, but he's centering a lot of balls this spring.
He's mad because he got under it a little bit and hit it in the air. He's trying real hard to stay on top of the ball and hit some line drives.
And hit it the other way.
Yeah.
I don't remember. That's the only ball I remember him hitting to left, actually.
Here's Chipper with the bases empty, looking for his second hit of the spring. And he got it.
said he'd feel better when he started squaring up some fastballs and caught up to the timing of them, and that was a pretty good one down and in, and he got the barrel of the bat down to it quickly.
Yeah, Chipper, it's interesting his approach to spring training and how it's helped Dan Uggla. I know Dan's not in the lineup today, but his aggressive approach early in spring has really helped Dan. You're right, he wants to get that timing on the fastball and then worry about the rest later.
High tight to Braves catcher Brian McCann, who bats with 2 outs.
With all the struggles the Braves had that last year, and with Brian being very frustrated by his lack of production that last month, you just can't help but think that he was playing still hurt from that oblique, that he never really was able to regain full strength in that.
Into a shift, he lines one into right. Houston had 3 defenders on the right side of the infield, and Brian shot it over everybody's head. Now 2 are on, 2 out for Freddie Freeman.
Well, that's what Brian was doing all day today in batting practice, hitting line shots. He wasn't trying to lift the ball, just lacing shots all over the ballpark. 6-time All-Star already. Same number of Silver Bat Awards.
Same number of seasons he's played.
Yes. Exactly.
6, 6, and 6.
Good test here for Freddie Freeman. Tough lefty. And he takes up and in for ball 1.
Oh, no, Fred, get you one, kid.
Saw Rodriguez there drop his arm angle down just a little bit. Tucky took a little off, but trying to get the ball to sink a little bit, hoping Freeman would swing over the top of it or hit a ground ball somewhere.
Three balls and a strike. Now a full count.
I asked Freddie before the game during batting practice how his knee was feeling. It slowed him down for about a week after it popped out a joint, and he said it's much better, no problems. He's still wearing a protective sleeve over the knee just for a little extra support. And he said he's not sure he even needs that.
Runners go, and Freeman singles into right center field. Chipper will come around and score, and Brian McCann to third. Nice piece of hitting for Freddie Freeman. 3 straight singles with 2 outs, and that ties the game at 1.
I love this, Dale, because even on a 3-2 pitch, he wasn't trying to do too much with this pitch. It looked like it was in. Yeah, breaking ball.
Yeah.
He was still thinking up the middle, wasn't he?
Yeah, he put a real good swing on it. You know, when you got guys running, a lot of holes are opening up. Just put the ball in play. Don't try to overswing. I think that's what you got to think about when you're up there. Get the ball out there somewhere, and something good's going to happen in that situation.
Well, the man in the batter's box is one that's opened a few eyes this spring. Jordan Perez, 6 for 14 with a homer. We saw the homer here the other night. 27-year-old free agent that was originally signed by the Houston Astros back in 2004.
Put a rocket off that scoreboard the other night.
I liked your term 2 nights ago, Dale, when you were talking about, I think it was Simmons, you said he's making some noise. Well, this guy's definitely making some noise this spring and trying to find a spot on this club as a backup outfielder. And they tell me he's got a great arm.
Yeah, he's got a gun. I was talking to Brian Snitker before the game. He threw on the back fields before the game today. And threw from center field. And, you know, the problem when you're throwing from center field is if you want to get a play, you got to clear the mound. Hits the mound, it pops straight up, so you got to get it over the mound. He doesn't have to get it over the mound. Brian was saying he can throw it on the second base side of the mound. He's got such a good arm that it'll skip all the way to home plate.
No way.
Yeah,
really.
And a lot of the guys have been talking about the arm that he has. So when you're looking at him being a bench player and a role player, a guy that really has some tools, runs pretty good too.
Could be even be a defensive replacement if you needed him on occasion.
2 balls and a strike. Well, he had 289 last year at Scranton. That was the Yankees AAA affiliate. Getting a look here in spring in Orlando. A chance to give the Braves their first lead. 2 on, 2 out.
And this is just the kind of pitcher that he'll face on a Sunday afternoon, give someone a day off. It's a good look for him.
And he earns a walk to load the bases.
Good at bat. Really good.
Both of these pitchers so far in the first inning showing their lack of work, I think, so far. Just a little off with some of their control. Falling behind hitters.
There are Jason's spring numbers. That homer came here on Wednesday and almost hit the satellite truck in right center field. High fly, belted deep right. That was crushed.
Yes, it was. The Hayward tense. Or close. Well, Greg Walker talks about Jason Hayward getting that lower half and that bottom half, the lower half and the upper half working together, and it did on that swing. I thought it was interesting when he came around home plate. Joe gave a little extra aggressive high five to someone. I think he's got a little frustration built in there after last year and all the attention he's getting.
No question.
That'll erase some of that skepticism.
He had the good night 2 nights ago with the homer and double. Yesterday he had a tougher day, a couple of strikeouts. And Greg Walker said today, he said, you know, that's going to happen as this continues to be a work in progress.
Drew Sutton inside the third base bag fair. He'll have an extra base hit. Sutton vying for a backup infield job, and he swung the bat well this spring. And he is too, another former Astros draft pick. And after getting the first 2 outs very easily, Wandy Rodriguez having no luck at all, and the Astros bullpen is busy. He's been bending and twisting his back. You mentioned, Joe, a sore back for him this spring. Maybe a little tight here in the first inning too.
Seen him stretching, trying to stretch it out a little bit.
And here's Andrelton Simmons, or Andy, as the broadcasters like to call him. Put on a show here Wednesday, and certainly making an interesting case for a spot on this club as well.
Said his approach is to try to go right center with everything. Not so much on that swing, but Luis Salazar talked about him, his manager last year, saying he can hit a fastball, and if he can catch up to the fastball, then everything else works off that. But he's capable of hitting the fastball, and that's good. He said he was, I said, how did you wind up at Western Oklahoma Junior College? And he said he went to a high school showcase where they have kind of a tryout for college coaches and scouts for that matter. And he said, I had a friend who was already pitching at Western, and he told the coach about me because they needed a shortstop.
Fly ball to center, and Jordan Schaefer is there.
He said he watched me play one game, and he said why he had me come, I don't know, because I had a horrible game.
Oh. Well, he's off to a good start this spring, and so is Jason Hayward. 2 homers in the last 2 TV games. We like that pace, Jason. First inning grand slam makes it a 5-1 Braves game. 5-1's our score. A Jason Hayward grand slam in the opening inning tonight. And Braves fans, we hope you'll enjoy the free Braves open house March 31st. Kids will be able to enjoy free Scouts Alley games, clubhouse tours, and you can run the bases too. The Braves will also host a Waffle House charity breakfast served by Braves alumni. Visit braves.com/open house for more details. Jed Lowry, switch hitting shortstop, leads things off for the Astros. Tommy Hanson now an early 4-run lead. Good numbers this spring, but staying healthy, fellas, has been the problem for Lowry the last couple of years. He's only played 140-something games in the last 2 seasons combined.
Slightly built, so anything that comes along, getting hit by a pitch, something that can knock him out for a while. Yes, he did.
He did. And Lowry's called out on strikes. He thought that was downstairs, and Hanson has strikeout number 2 tonight.
Good breaking ball. Looked like he committed. Wasn't a strike, but looked like he went after it. Tommy averaged 9.83 strikeouts per 9 innings last year. And that was 5th best in the major leagues for pitchers that worked 120 or more innings.
Brett Wallace, the ex-first baseman, now getting a shot at third tonight. He's played there a few times this spring. And Brad Mills was talking about that before the game, Murph, about why they're playing him with Wandy Rodriguez pitching.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting what you told me, Chip. They want a relatively soft left-handed pitcher to see how many balls would be hit to third to him, see him handle third base with a lefty throwing.
Because he hadn't been tested much apparently in his other games at third. He played third in college though, I'm told, at Arizona State.
So he makes the move across the diamond for Houston. And works a 3-1 count.
They got him a little out of position today to test him. They're going to have to play on the other side of the fence the way some of these guys are swinging today for the Braves.
Fly ball into shallow right. That'll drop behind Drew Sutton, and Wallace tomahawks the third Houston hit, and it comes with 1 out.
You know, I think it's interesting, Joe, you talk about the amount of rookies the Astros had playing last year and what their camp is like. It's easier to break in that way. We got a couple of shortstops fighting for a position that are in a pennant contending team. That's a little bit of a challenge. I know when I broke in, it was just go play and see what happens. So it's good for the young players, but the Braves, it's a different situation, and the competition a little different for the young guys.
I don't mean to make this comparison in a negative way, but I mean, backing up what you just said, the situation with the Braves when you broke in is not a whole lot unlike what Houston's going through right now. They're looking for players.
Yeah, they lost 106 games last year. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
1 ball, no strikes to Jason Castro, the catcher tonight. And a mile-high pop-up. Wynn trying to push that ball into the stands. It will. Well, it really has been a year of change for the Astros. They traded
Michael Bourne, as you know. They traded Hunter Pence, as you know, last year. Brad Mills came back to manage this ball club. They have new ownership, and next year they move to the American League. That's going to present a whole different set of challenges for Brad Mills. You have to totally rework the way you put together your club offensively.
It's something they more or less volunteered for also when there was talk about realignment, that they would be happy to go to the American League because they thought it would set up a great natural rivalry with the Texas Rangers.
Two balls, two strikes.
They missed this kid last year too. Castro's a former first-round pick. Tore up his knee beginning of the season, missed the whole year. So they're happy to have their #1 catcher back.
Talking about the drought the organization is in a little bit, that's what makes this run of the Atlanta Braves organization so much more remarkable. To be that consistent year in and year out is just a remarkable thing. A credit to the scouting and to the whole organization that from top to bottom to be in a pennant race every year.
Runner goes from first, and a cue shot toward the mound. Tommy's got it and gets his man by a step. Wallace to second with 2 out.
Brett Wallace in your picture there, a lot like a guy we saw 2 years ago, Chip, break in with the Astros, Chris Johnson at third base, who just did a bang-up job at the end of the 2010 season. And Johnson and Wallace started at third and first base respectively last year and wound up both of them back in the minor leagues by August because they pretty much fell on their face. So they're trying to rekindle what worked for them a couple of years ago.
Jose Altuve, the second baseman. Big swing and a miss. I like this kid. Good glove man. Run a little bit.
Eddie Perez tells me he is quite a hitter too. Had a real good winter league season in Caracas. Hit about 370 in winter ball, but he never walks. Can't walk him.
And that just missed outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. No homers this spring, but Altuve hit his first big league homer in exciting fashion. A leadoff inside the park homer for your first. Came against the Giants in August. Now 2 balls and a strike.
You know, the way he took those 2 pitches, Joe, those are tough pitches to take. You'd think he'd have more walks.
I was just going to say that I hope I didn't put the whammy on Hansen here.
Every guy that I had said has got a swinging good this spring. He struck out. So
liner over short. Base hit. Martin plays the hop. Wallace has to stop at third. Braves were playing shallowly, and that helped Martin pick up an extra step or 2. And Houston has him at the corners with 2 out.
good play by Martin here. You know, we just really can't talk enough about this guy as a teammate and as a team player that is fine with going to left field, playing second, filling in for Chipper. That is I know he's a major league player, but that's just not that easy.
He does everything well. He does everything the right way. He knows how to play each position fundamentally and really hates making any kind of mental mistake.
Jordan Schaefer doubled and scored in the first for Houston and takes a good live fastball.
And the things that go through your mind prior to a base hit are completely different out there at second base or third. You've got to think about 5 different things. He takes great pride in that.
Well, you remember, Joe, last year teams challenged Martin on his throws to the plate early in the season and threw out a couple of guys in April and May, and that stopped that opponent tactic.
Good breaking ball there from Hansen, backdoor pitch.
Last spring I was talking to Martin as he made that change. He said, one of the things I'm worried about is if I'm the first hitter the next inning, getting in from left field to go through my pre-at-bat routine. I said, well, that's your only worry. You're going to be fine.
I mean, you went through that too. It's a lot closer behind the plate than it is running in from center, right?
Well,
He makes a good point.
It really is.
Yeah.
It is. You like to do what you like to do before you're at bat. You want to feel comfortable. And he's got to run in, find all his stuff, his gloves, his helmet, his bat, get out there and go through your routine so you feel prepared to for that at bat. And he was worried about it.
Schaefer golfs one foul to the right side. Count stays 1-2.
It really goes to how much pride he takes in preparation and taking the game serious day in and day out wherever he is. He wants to get in there and get ready to hit. He doesn't want to be rushed. So you see him hustle off the field when he's up first. He's going to make sure he gets off in time.
Tommy tried the back door, didn't get the call. 2-2.
Right over the top curveball, didn't ever get the plate.
Schaefer pops it into shallow right. Altuve was running with the pitch. And that takes care of the Astros in the second inning. Tommy Hanson in the mid-40s with his pitch count, but more importantly, he leads the game 5-1 in the second. Tim Couch are the panel. And starting Monday, these NFL vets put 5 top draft prospects through the fire. Tune in all week long for our new draft hopeful each and every night. The panel starts Monday at 10:30 with Georgia Bulldog Brandon Boykin on Fox Sports South. See if the Braves can recreate their first inning magic. 9 men came to the plate, and 5 of them scored.
Michael Bourne had a smile on his face because he's looking at Brett Wallace, who's about 60 feet from home plate at third base.
He tried to hit it right to him, didn't he? And he's smiling about it. Strike one.
It's going to be 55 feet from home plate this next pitch. Look at that.
Playing softball depth.
Kind of a psychological battle that third baseman puts on. Tries to get him to think a little bit too much about hitting it that way. Get him out of his game a little bit. Move back now. Couple strikes.
Popped up left side. Wallace foul ground. Ryan Sneaker gets out of the way. And there's out number 1. Martin Prado's the batter. For more on him, let's check in with Jordan again. Jordan?
Well, guys, earlier today on Facebook, some fans had some questions for you, and here's one from Steve Reynolds. He wants to know, do you think Prado can adjust to batting behind Bourne? Last year, he seemed tentative batting when Bourne was on base, like he was waiting for Bourne to steal or something. Bourne, he's a pretty speedy thief. What do you think?
I think Steve's right. I think has a good observation, and I think Martin would be the first one to tell you that. But as you pointed out 2 nights ago, Dale, Martin's been working real hard on hitting the ball to right center and quit trying to pull the ball quite as much, which was a bad habit he got into last year. So I think with Michael on base, that'll help him.
Yeah, you're right. There'll be a hole over there he can shoot for. It's just a better swing for him to hit it the other way. I think he got into a couple of bad habits and he realized he was tentative sometimes. Just didn't take an aggressive swing. Didn't trust his swing, it looked like sometimes.
I think when you miss as much time as he missed with that staph infection and as competitive as he is, I think part of what led to those bad habits was his effort to try to catch up all of his numbers, to get back what he missed. And then as a result started becoming a little too pull happy.
Lines that ball to left. And Wandy Rodriguez pitched too good on an 0-2 count.
Well, Martin dropped another good swing. He just, every at bat, he's putting a good swing on the ball.
And the reason he pulled that ball, he was fooled a little bit because it was a slow breaking ball. but by thinking guard the plate, hit the ball to right center, he's on that breaking ball and pretty much put it on a tee for him to pull it.
Chipper singled and scored the first Braves run back an inning ago.
If he can pull on that ball, he pulls it foul, rolls it over to the third baseman, which is what Wandy wanted him to do. Martin is just swinging so good.
Lowry at short. Altuve at second for one. High throw. Did Carlos Lee have the bag? Yes, indeed, he did, apparently. Carlos Lee never had the bag, never tagged Chipper, and Freddie Gonzalez will come out and argue.
There he's got an early dinner reservation.
Chipper still doesn't believe it.
Well, as has been said in this booth before, it's spring training for the umpires too.
Carlos Lee.
Not even close.
Yeah. And Carlos Lee was just standing there, pretty much knew that he wasn't out.
Double play ends the Braves second, but Atlanta still leads. The Atlanta Braves on Fox Sports South are brought to you in part by Ford. Joe, Chip, and Murph with you from Orlando. 5-1 Braves lead as we move to the third inning. Third inning for Tommy Hanson, 45 pitches. What have you liked from Tommy so far?
Well, I like what I see. I think, again, that first start was okay, was a little rough, terrible weather conditions. I like what I see, Joe.
Looks like he's throwing free and easy, too. That shoulder tendonitis thing is such a hard thing to deal with and get rid of. I'm glad he had the rest of the winter to let it rest. I know he was anxious to get out there.
Bourgeois, Buck, and Lee, the first three do for the Astros. And a quick strike. Every team every year has a new face or two. The Braves have a new one on their coaching staff. And the new hitting coach, Greg Walker, joins us downstairs. Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good right now.
I'll bet you are. More good things from Jason, huh?
Yeah, that was a great swing. Obviously, he put a charge in it, but he's been getting better every day, and we're starting to get some results. He's worked real hard since January, really, and had himself in great shape before that. But he's doing real well. We're happy where he's at, obviously.
Greg, you were talking before the game about his upper body working with his lower body, that last year he was mostly just an upper body guy. Explain to our fans what you mean by that.
Well, it's kind of like golf, a connected swing in golf. They all have to work in sequence, and he just got to where his legs were not involved with his upper half, and when you turn into that, you're going to be around balls, and you're going to go left sooner or right sooner or later. And we went back to 2010, and he did it right, at times last year, but it just wasn't consistent enough. So we felt like that was the majority of the problem, and he's worked real hard on staying inside the ball, and his path's been good. But if your lower half's not working, then it's hard to stay inside the ball and work through it.
Greg, this is Murph. Talk a little bit about the teamwork that you and Scott Fletcher have as hitting coach and assistant hitting coach. Tell us a little bit how that's going to work.
Yeah, well, I actually had that situation in Chicago the last 9 years, and I just felt like it was the way to go about it. We had a good situation there. There's a lot to do now. There's a lot of information out there, and it's a big job for one person, and really it takes more than two. I'll use the whole staff. TP's done this for a long time also, and I'm going to lean on everybody. I need all the help I can get, and so far the whole staff's been fantastic. And I was a teammate of Fletch's back in the day in Chicago, and I knew what kind of person he was. We've stayed friends. We've talked about hitting for years, and I knew he'd be a good teammate for me. And he knows how to fight the fight. He's a tough character, and we need as many of those guys in our clubhouse as we can get.
And I like what you told me a week or so ago when I got down here. You said, I don't care where the answer comes from. I don't have to be the guy with the answer.
Yeah, you know, I'll listen to anybody. I didn't invent any of this stuff. I just I stole it from other people. You know, so this game's been played a long time at a high level, and I do think today's player probably it's as tough to play offensive baseball right now as it's ever been. I think there's more guys that throw 95 plus. There's the new pitch, the cutter. There's so much scrutiny and about how you play the game, the money ball. You know, everybody wants you to be aggressive on fastballs, but they want you to work the count. So you got to choose. You got to find out, and that's what the process we're in right now. We're trying to find out what kind of team we've got, who the players are. They're learning who we are as coaches, and the whole organization. You know, first of all, before I even took this job, I was told by all my friends in baseball, the Atlanta Braves, from top to bottom, are the best organization in baseball as far as people go. There's a lot of good people in every organization. We've got a bunch of them over here, and they've made me feel welcome and at home and happy to be here.
I was going to say it must be nice for a Georgia boy to come back and work for the Braves, huh?
Yeah, you know, I grew up a huge Braves fan, and I got to go to it. It seemed like back in the day the drive to Atlanta was a lot farther. We didn't get up there very often from South Georgia, but I did get to go in 1969 to see the Braves and Mets play in a regular season game. And that was the only game I saw before I played in one, actually. So it's a thrill to be here, and it's a great organization, great people, like I said, and they've made me feel very welcome.
You were just a kid when Dale Murphy was playing.
Well, I wasn't a kid, but I was a big fan. I promise you that. Great player and a great person, that's for sure.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg, thanks so much. Keep up the good work, and look forward to a fun year with you in 2012. That's Greg Walker. It's a 5-2 Braves game behind Tommy Hanson. Braves 5, Astros 2, and Braves fans new this year. Buy a ticket plan and get 33% off food and beverages at Turner Field. Visit Braves.com/tickets or call 404-577-9100 to buy your season ticket package today. Brian McCann, Freddie Freeman, and Jordan Perez coming up against Wandy Rodriguez. Gave up a grand slam to Jason Hayward in the first inning tonight. Joe mentioned Rodriguez went 11-11 last year for the Astros. Doesn't sound like much of a year, but the club's 56-106, go 11-11. That's a fine campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be the opening day pitcher?
I would assume so. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good chance.
Provided his back's okay and holds up. Brett Myers has been in their rotation the last 2 years, but they've moved him to the bullpen. He'll be their closer this year instead.
Carlos Lee to his right. And Rodriguez to the bag for out number one.
They also signed Livan Hernandez, the ageless one, who is most definitely going to be in their rotation, along probably with Jay Happ and Bud Norris. We got some competition going on for their fifth spot. One of the guys they were raving about was a young man they got from the Braves in the Michael Bourne deal, Paul Clemens. Said he's had a good spring, but they've sent him back to their minor league camp, but he really showed him something.
Good work for Freddie Freeman in his first at bat, fellas. Base hit and an RBI off the left-handed pitcher, Wandy Rodriguez.
Yeah, he had a real good at bat. Didn't try to do too much. Put the bat on the ball and see what happens. Stayed inside. Really well, had a good RBI single. Right up the middle.
His second RBI of the spring. And another shot toward first. Carlos Lee handled a tricky hop. And that's out number two.
Another good swing. He said before the game, when I asked him how he's feeling, he said, it's coming. You know, he's not there yet, but Freddie just feels like it's coming around timing-wise, and he's feeling a little better, and good signs tonight.
Yeah, he hit that ball well, and it's ground ball to first base, but he hit it hard.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go back to the dugout feeling too bad about that at bat in spring training.
Yeah.
Perez had the key at bat in the first inning. He walked ahead of Hayward. Jason then hit the grand slam.
This guy started off as a pitcher, I'm told, and converted to position player. Typically, it's the other way around.
Well, these are some good at-bats for him. Like we said earlier, having a chance to maybe make this ball club on the bench. This is the kind of guy that he will face off and on. So these are important at-bats for him.
Well, we've seen it 100 times or more, Murph, when a guy comes to camp, and maybe from another organization, you get an at-bat, you get a couple of innings late in the game. If you can make the most of that at-bat and show something, like the other night, hitting that home run, all of a sudden, now you're getting a start. And you're going to get 3 or 4 at-bats to show Freddie and the staff a little something.
Yeah, the first few innings in spring training, the veterans kind of get their at-bats, talk about their timing, and then the game starts with these guys coming off the bench trying to make clubs. Trying to get the organization's attention.
Check to swing, popped it up, stays alive. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Perez has got the attention of the Braves.
Big, strong guy, and as we said, has a real good arm from the outfield.
Jason Hayward. 2 homers in the last 3 games this spring. Waits next. Slow roller past the mound. Carlos Lee broke the wrong way, and Perez has an infield hit.
Steven Strasburg gave up a long one. Jason teed off 2 nights ago, and tonight it was Wandy Rodriguez who made a mistake in. That was a grand slam.
And a broken window.
Probably.
For Frank Wren.
Now, we've been through that before, haven't we, down here in Orlando? And a little tight. 1 ball, no strikes.
I think this is kind of an interesting at bat for Jason after hitting the ball that far, pulling it. If he cannot get pull conscious again. He's pulled a few home runs over the right field wall. He doesn't need to even think about that wall. It's going to go out there with his strength and putting a good swing on it. So I think this is kind of a little interesting at bat here. Just see if he can stay in there, not get too pull conscious.
That's a good point, I think, too. We saw in Jason's rookie year his ability, Joe, to go foul line to foul line all season long as a rookie with the Braves ball club.
I put a lot of stock in, and Greg Walker does too, in the way he takes a pitch, and he just took that breaking ball without flinching. He kept his front shoulder locked in there. And Walker said the same thing before he hit the home run off of Strasburg the other night. He said, I said to Scott Fletcher, oh, I like the way he took that pitch. He's where he needs to be. And the next pitch he hit a homer.
That's a good point, Joe. I remember watching, the guy who comes to my mind is Bob Horner. Man, he was right on that. He didn't even swing, didn't even offer at it. But the way he took it, you could tell next swing was going to be a good one. You know, sometimes you take a pitch, you check swing, and you're all committed. You look out of sync, and you don't really know where you're at. You didn't swing at it; it was a ball, but you just not a good take, like you say. I think that's a great point. Jason looks comfortable.
Full count.
Curveball from Rodriguez here. That's a dangerous place to go. Curveball to a lefty and leave it inside.
High fly to center. Schaefer has room. And that will retire the side. 5-2 after 3 in Orlando. The Atlanta Braves on Fox Sports South are brought to you in part by Honda Lawn and Garden. Fourth inning on a breezy night in Orlando. Braves 5, Astros 2. Tommy Hanson with 3 innings of 2-run baseball. He'll take the rest of the night off and give way to left-hander Eric O'Flaherty.
Eric worked 2 nights ago when we had the game here at Champions Field. So a quick turnaround for him in terms of spring training.
I'm guessing this is the first pitcher of the spring that's had that quick of a turnaround.
Probably so, yeah.
Remarkable year for Eric in 2011. Braves would love more of the same in 2012. As Jed Lowry digs in. And skies one down the right field line, but no play for Jason.
Braves got O'Flaherty from the Mariners. Was it on waivers? I think a waiver claim.
So, yep.
He had a bad back, and you know, Tim Hudson just had surgery in November to fix his back. That was becoming a chronic problem for him. But Eric works diligently on his post-game workouts, his strength and conditioning, to make sure he doesn't have another issue with his back.
Into center field for a leadoff hit for Lowry. His first of the night.
I know he works on his diet too. Brought something from home to eat, which there's something to eat. You know, before the game there'll be a little spread there. After BP, a little something to eat. He had something in some Tupperware heating up in the microwave. I said, "What is that?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "But it's healthy, right?" He goes, "Oh yeah, it's healthy."
It was probably mahi mahi or couscous. He is from Walla Walla.
Killing me.
Swing and a miss for Brett Wallace.
Speaking of swings and misses.
First of many, pal. Wallace has been a guy that's been highly thought of, but he's been with several different organizations already in his major league career. He's been with Oakland, he's been with the Cardinals, Toronto, now Houston.
Wasn't he traded at one point for Carlos Gonzalez from he went from the in the Oakland deal with the Rockies perhaps, but he's had tremendous minor league numbers.
But he's originally picked by the Cardinals, a first-round pick in 2008. Went to Oakland in the Matt Holliday trade.
There you go.
Then was acquired by Toronto for Michael Taylor, then acquired by Houston for Anthony Gose in July of 2010.
I had my former Rockies outfielders confused again.
They say he's trimmed down some this spring as he makes the move from first to third, or at least tries to.
That's his pitch too. He's got that classic low inside left-handed hitter swing. You make a mistake down in there, typically he's going to get you, but Eric gets it by him.
Nice grab by Roger McDowell on the top step. We'll do it again, 3-2.
Good work for Tommy Hanson's first outing, I thought. You know, he didn't walk anybody. That bouncing chopper double by Schaefer in the first led to one of the runs.
Past Freeman into right field. Lowry will turn at second, and the Astros have him first and third with nobody out.
At first glance on that play, I think Freddie'd like a do-over on that one. I think he had a beat on that one. I think he was a little surprised when he didn't come up with it, even though it was a tough play and a diving play.
I think he was hit a little harder than he thought.
Yeah, it did get to him real quick. That's the kind of play, though, Freddie makes. It doesn't surprise you when he does.
We're talking about the team defense and how much it drastically improved last year. You can give him a lot of credit, too, for all the short hops and bad throws he saved from infielders last year.
First and third for Castro. Get a comebacker for an out in his lone at bat in tonight's game. Double play ball. And there's the aforementioned scoop. Braves trade the run for the double play. Lowry scores to make it 5-3, but now they're 2 out.
Well, that's a great pick by Freddie on that double play. I think we had a little run in the early 80s, 82, 83, 84. Didn't really start till whenever the Chris Chambliss trade was made. Well, we got a solid first baseman. First baseman cover up a lot of things over there. I tried it before Chris got here, and it was a mess.
Freddie had that right in the web, too. That was a tough hop that Simmons handled, too, to get that started.
Altuve bats for the second time. He's got a hit tonight.
They made it look kind of routine, but Simmons and Freddie both made great plays catching short hops, one on the throw to Freddie, one on the ground ball to Simmons.
And now 1-2. Braves see the Astros, of course, a lot here in spring training. Houston trains just across town a bit, a couple of miles away in Kissimmee. We'll see Houston fellas very early in regular season play. As you know, Atlanta opens on the road against the Mets in New York. The Astros will be our second opponent on the road, the second series of the season.
Good to see old teammate Matt Sinatra with him, the bullpen coach.
Oh, he's got a smile on his face, doesn't he?
One of the funniest guys I know.
Left side of the infield thought that was good enough. But a full count for Jose Altuve. Sutton to his right. Good throw. Got a fast runner. And that retires Houston in the fourth inning. They pick up a single run and trim the Braves lead now to 5-3 in the middle of our fourth. 5-3 Braves in the fourth. Let's check back in with Jordan.
Well, I've moved at a safe distance from Peter Moylan to give you the update on what the fans are saying about this shortstop battle. You know, we've got Simmons up on deck, and this is what MK Craven has to say about what it's going to take offensively. And here's what it is: ability to stretch the count and get on base. Simmons has better range, but it will come down to getting on base, guys.
So that fan apparently thinks that the offensive side might be the deciding factor.
I think it's a real good observation in terms of getting on base, because whoever it is going to bat eighth in the lineup, and they're going to be batting in front of the pitcher. So the ability to get on base and clear the pitcher out of an inning is important. I tend to think that the defense is going to be the telltale sign for whoever wins the job.
But you're right, Joe. Whoever it is going to be probably hitting eighth, and that's a tough place to break in as a young player for a whole season. For 162 games, hitting eighth in front of the pitcher, I mean, you can get a lot of pitches off the plate, a lot of intentional walks, get you out of your rhythm.
Drew Sutton starts off the Braves fourth, leading 5-3. In fairness, I haven't seen Tyler Pasternack play. I would assume that day game tomorrow, we might see him at shortstop.
So. Yeah, I hope so.
The ball's hit a long way down the left field line. And beyond the Astros bullpen, well foul.
Yeah, this guy reminds me, remember Tim Teufel?
Uh-huh.
He was kind of a tall, lanky, rangy guy. And Sutton is 6'2". I mean, that's pretty tall for a second baseman. 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got some pop in his bat, too. Back to that shortstop discussion, though. And it's just me, it's my opinion that if it doesn't matter to me, obviously, which guy wins the job. You just want the best guy out there who's going to catch the ball on a consistent basis, because I don't know how much they're counting on either one of them for offensive output at this early stage of their major league careers.
I agree with you, Joe. I think they want them to play defense, let their offense come to them. I think the key thing, the key person that we're not talking enough about is Jack Wilson, because for a young player not to struggle is a rarity. So you're going to have, whoever makes it, you're going to have a young player out there, and you're going to have probably some challenges throughout the season that they're going to have to figure out how to get through. And Jack Wilson will be a key part of that to offer a little buffer to them, days off. And if things don't work out too well, Jack's going to play a lot. But we haven't talked about him; he's still recovering. But I think he's a key person to think about in this whole transition at shortstop.
Be a good mentor.
And if you have a pitch to contact staff, depending on who's on the mound that particular day, as Simmons pops one up to Carlos Lee. He's got it in foul ground. Pitcher wants somebody to catch the ball behind him, right, Tim Hudson?
That's right. Every day.
Pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, we watched you throw a little in the bullpen today, and you were airing it out, buddy.
Yeah, man, I was trying to get after it a little bit. Finally got the thumbs up from the doctor, so I'm ready to go, man. Just trying to get in shape, get my arm in shape, and get out there, man. I'm ready to join the team. Feel like a teammate.
Are they having to sit on you a little bit, not overdo it?
Well, I was talking to Roger, and we're trying to map out a program, and of course I was trying to come back as early as I can, and they want to be pretty conservative with me, and which is a smart thing to do. But I feel good, man. Honestly, I don't feel like my back is an issue at all. Right now I'm just trying to get my arm in shape and get my legs up under me, and go out there and start competing. Once I get my volume with throws up, that's where I'm really going to start, figuring out where I am.
Michael Bourne's the batter. Tim, I read something I believe you said the other day, and as good as you've been throughout your major league career and as good as you've been with the Braves, you said you feel better now than in spring training than you have in a couple of years?
Yeah, it's my back is not a problem now. It's one of those things where over the last couple of years it was an issue, but you just kind of dealt with it and went out there and tried to.
Look at Michael Bourne take a ball deep to right and gone.
Nice. That's right.
Talk about his trot, Tim. How is it?
Yeah, it's a little too quick for my taste.
Yeah.
But whatever.
You're gonna have to work with him on slowing that thing down.
It's too quick, man. It's too quick. Gotta enjoy it. He probably hits a few more than I do, though.
It'd be nice to have him for 162, won't it?
Yeah, it is going to be nice. We have him out there in center field running his balls down, and being one of the quicker guys in the league, stealing his bags and getting on base, man. That's what we need.
Well, honey, Michael Bourne put a good swing on that one, and I'm glad to hear about your back and everything, but I'm really wondering how you're swinging. How you hitting the cage? Feeling okay?
Well, I'm just starting to get my timing down right now. I've had my bat. I've been sitting here holding the bat for a while, and trying to get my grip going and get my stroke down.
I'll tell you what, work on it. We're going to take a quick commercial break, come back and talk about your hitting prowess and more when we come back to Orlando.
All right.
Braves have chased Wandy Rodriguez. Right-hander Henry Sosa's on now for Houston. Braves now up 7-3 in the fourth inning. Joe Simpson, Dale Murphy, Chip Carey, and the free-swinging Tim Hudson standing behind the Braves dugout tonight.
Yeah.
He looks ready, doesn't he?
Realistically, Tim, we still thinking 1st of May? maybe, or I'm sure if you had your way, it might be a little sooner.
Yeah, I think so. I'm hoping to get into a game before spring training ends. Hopefully if I don't have any setbacks, that could probably realistically be the case, which means I could probably be, end of April, beginning of May. It just depends on where I am from an innings pitch standpoint and a pitch count standpoint. How effective we feel I am, I guess. But I feel really good right now. I think, hopefully there won't be any speed bumps along the way.
It was an odd surgery. I don't want you to show us your scar, okay? But it was, to me, a real odd thing. They actually went in through your abdomen to repair your back, correct?
Yeah, they did. They went through my stomach and fished their way back there, and fixed me up. It was definitely something that was, it's an interesting surgery because they went in there and they put a sponge in between my vertebrae and with some bone-producing proteins, and 3 months later, there's a solid bone between there, and over time it'll even get stronger. So, I'm encouraged the way it feels right now, and I think it's only going to feel better over the next few months.
I'm glad you described that surgery about an hour after dinner time, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding, right?
I hope they don't have to go through my stomach to get to my back. They may never make it.
Yeah. I'm just glad I didn't wait till after my career. I probably would have had a few extra layers there myself.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Huddy, I was kidding around a little bit about your hit, but what do? You take a lot of pride in your hitting and your ability to bunt as a starting pitcher. What's your routine, since you really only get out on the field and take BP when you start? What do you do on the days you don't start to stay sharp?
Well, during the season, we'll take bat practice a few times, about 2 or 3 times in between starts, and during that time we'll work on a lot of obviously some situational bunting and making sure we're getting them down, and we'll take some early. Sometimes we'll take some early swings in the cages, and during the games and stuff we'll go up there and get some work in. But it's just anytime we can help ourselves out at the plate, whether it be with a bunt, getting the guys over, getting a base hit or drawing walks. It's always a pain in the side for the other pitcher, and we need to be on top of that. It's only going to help our games out, make our guys that are hitting for us in the lineup, their job's a little bit easier to score runs when they're moving guys over and doing our job.
Tim, in your absence, there's a pretty good battle going on for the vacant spot in the rotation. What's your take on the way Teran and Delgado have pitched? I know Mike Minor's been very sharp too.
Yeah, well, Mike's been he's been nails. I think he's really showing everybody that he's establishing himself as a guy that we can depend on. And the 2 young guys, man, I'm telling you, they have unbelievable stuff. I think we'll be comfortable with either one of those guys. I just hope one of the guys kind of takes the lead and goes out there and really starts producing these last few starts of spring training, but obviously if they both go out there and pitch well, it's those are some good decisions that you have to make when you have 2 guys competing with that kind of stuff. It's a luxury we have, man. A lot of organizations don't have the arms that they can depend on at the big league level like we do. Some of those young guys are really good, and we have the luxury of a guy like myself being able to miss some time, but not necessarily missing talent out of the rotation.
Quickly, Tim, what'd you think of Tommy's performance tonight?
I think it's good. I think it's good. Obviously, he got hit a little bit there that one long ball, but he's a little bit behind as far as innings pitch. He had to miss a start. To start spring training, he missed some bullpens and some bat practice and stuff because of his little concussion that he had. But I think he's going to be right on track and ready to go. He's going to be one of our horses, and we're going to depend on him.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Freddie Freeman. Braves have struck for 2 more runs in the 4th. And out of play foul. Did you see Moneyball?
I did see it.
What'd you think when Brad Pitt said, "Hey, Tim Hudson, use your curveball tonight"?
No kidding. I think my wife liked it. She's a fan of Brad Pitt. She probably liked it a lot more than I did. But it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool seeing a snapshot of your life played out on the big screen. I'm not quite sure how accurate it was, but it was Hollywooded up a little bit. If that probably would up's a word, but
thank you.
It is now. It is now.
Thank
Hey,
you.
man, I'm from Alabama. I can come up with some good stuff here if you just keep me on the line. But it was kind of cool. It was fun. There was some stuff that kind of jogged my memory with some things. I'd see it on. I was like, man, I do remember that. That was kind of cool. But it was fun. It was good to watch.
Timmy, it's great to see you with a smile on your face, and can't wait to get you back healthy and in rotation in 2012.
Hey, me too, brother.
All right, that's Tim Hudson, and the Braves enjoying a 7-3 lead on the Landers. 7-3, Braves have the lead. Get geared up for the Braves season with the 2012 Braves season preview on Sports South. Joe and I bring you exclusive interviews with Freddie Gonzalez, Chipper Jones, Brian McCann, and the rest of your Atlanta Braves for a full breakdown of the upcoming season. Check your local listings for the 2012 Braves season preview show on Sports South. 2 changes for Atlanta. Joey Tadoslavich checks in for Chipper Jones at third base. And another flamethrower on the mound for Atlanta. Left-hander Johnny Venters appears.
85 games last year and a 184. Pretty good work. 176 average against him. He had a game, was it against Houston last week, where he threw an inning and struck out 3 guys and nobody made contact? I'd say he's getting close.
Yes.
What a luxury, Joe, too, to not have to think about lefty-righty matchups too much. Just bring them in.
Nice piece of hitting for Jordan Schaefer. I don't know, 2 pitch to handle, and he smacks it into left for a leadoff single. That's 2 hits for Schaefer tonight. And Jordan's had a good spring for Houston.
That's a real good sign for Brad Mills, too, against a real tough left-handed reliever, for him to be able to take the ball the other way. Dale, I feel like at times Venters is almost more effective against right-handers than lefties because he uses changeup more.
Here's Bourgeois. Jason's 0 for 2. And down a quick strike.
Just naturally, you have a tendency when you see a lefty out there as a right-handed hitter to say, well, okay, I'm gonna see this ball pretty good off him. And they say it just eats right-handers up with his changeup, and I assume he's got a cutter, Joe. I mean,
he does, but a lot of natural movement too in his fastball. Some real good sinking action.
Schaefer's running. The pitch low. The throw to second. Not in time.
Well, Jordan Schaefer can run. We all know that. I think he got a real good jump off of Johnny.
That was a pretty good throw, though.
I'd like to see the second baseman at the bag. I know maybe he felt like he had to come up, but it wasn't going to be a short hop. I've always felt like the throw is going to be faster than you can get it and tag it and bring it back.
Schaefer's going to try to steal third, and he beats the wrap there. Ball beat him, but the short hop allows him to get his hand in before Tadoslavich could apply the tag. So Schaefer steals second and third.
And it looked like Simmons had something on. Maybe they were going to try a pickoff play. I don't think Johnny saw him break. Yeah, Simmons break to the bag right as Johnny was coming home. And it brings up a point, Joe, actually working together with a young rookie shortstop on pickoff plays and things like that.
That ball beaten into the ground. Tadoslavich throws a sinker to first. Bourgeois drives home Schaefer. Astros inch closer. It's now 7-4.
A pickoff play like that is a little timing thing, or just getting to know each other, or having some signs. You wonder if Andrelton has really even talked to the pitchers about something like that.
Yeah, this was the perfect time to throw back there too, knowing that Schaefer was going. It was set up perfectly. And an inning, a Jordan Schaefer inning, where good piece of hitting, and then he practically stole a run.
Might be the way Houston has to play a lot this year. Here's Travis Buck. He's had a good night tonight. Single, a homer, 2 RBIs. And it's even, 1 ball, 1 strike.
This guy's swinging the bat. He's kind of complicating things in the outfield. When you figure that Schaefer right now is the odds-on guy in center field, and J.D. Martinez, who played so well for them at the end of last season and leads their team in RBIs this spring, he's not here tonight. He's going to be their left fielder.
He's down on strikes for the second out for Johnny Vetters.
Bogasevich, Bourgeois, and Buck. There's a triumvirate for you.
That goes back to what you said Jeff Lunau's goal for spring training was. It's not just come to camp and get in shape. It's people have to earn jobs all over the diamond for this ball club, it would appear.
Wow. Talking about that movement a minute ago.
And I don't even think he got crossed up, Joe.
Usually,
No.
No.
Usually you see a catcher, Brian McCann, trying to catch that one. It just sailed.
Well hit right center. That'll bounce over the fence for a double. Carlos Lee, 1 for 3 tonight.
Sometimes balls move like that so much as a catcher, you start to get a little gun shy. I think this is the ball that Carlos Lee hits. Ball didn't move like the one before.
No, it had a lot of the plate too.
You pitched Bogasevich.
You caught a little bit when you first came up. I mean, other times where you just have to turn around to the umpire and say, "Man, I'm sorry. I did the best I could on that one."
I said that a lot. What happened there? Was it a balk? Or
yep.
Did I miss?
Yep. I didn't see what he did.
No balls and a strike. Lee at third now with 2 out.
Catch what he did. There was a little flinch before.
A little flinch as if he wanted to start into his stretch and didn't quite finish it.
If he'd stepped off, he'd have been fine.
I remember trying to catch Nuxie.
Oh, great.
Man, that had a tighter record. I think I had 5 pass balls in one game in the Astrodome. I would have had 6, but Willie Montanez was playing first and Bob Watson was the runner. I missed it. And Willie said, "Foul ball, foul ball." So Bob just went back to first. I ran over and picked it up. Like, oh, he didn't go. I wonder why he didn't go.
Bouncing ball to second. That'll take care of the Astros in the 5th. Halfway through tonight.
And Willie said, "I'll take care of you, kid. Don't worry about it."
Right.
Worked out great. 7-4's your score. The Atlanta Braves on Fox Sports South are brought to you in part by Ram Trucks. Nice crowd tonight in Orlando. They've seen the Braves break out the long ball again. Jason Hayward's hit a grand slam tonight. He's due to hit second in this 5th inning. Tommy Hanson started, went 3 innings in his first extended outing of the spring. And Jordan Perez goes to work in the Atlanta 5th. He's walked, he's scored, he has an infield hit. Raz 7 for 15 at the plate this spring. Fly ball to left. 1 out. So Tommy Hanson looked good tonight. That's certainly good news for Atlanta. A young man who's looked good all spring long joins us downstairs. Mike Minor. Mike, congratulations on good work so far this spring.
Oh, thank you.
Last outing, you was telling me today you thought maybe it was your best work to date.
Yeah, I think so. Just overall, just moving the ball in and out, up and down, and working with McCann last outing was just, I hardly had a shake on him, and just seemed like we were working really well together.
It's not your first rodeo in spring training now with the ball club. Does that help you as you try to solidify a spot this spring?
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see what happens, and I'm not going to take it for granted. Just like last year, we had to work for the spot, and I didn't get it. Beachy pitched better than me, and earned that. And then throughout the season, he showed that. And hopefully, this year will be a little bit different, though.
Yeah, it sounds like your spot is very solid at this point, Mike. And I was just checking your numbers. You haven't given up a run all spring. 9 innings, 5 hits, no runs. I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Just getting lucky so far, I would say. Just trying to work with Ross and McCann.
High to Jason. 3 balls and a strike.
What are you doing different this spring, or how was your approach different this spring than past?
Just more confident, more comfortable in the clubhouse and on the field, and trying to just do some work in the bullpen, and just overall trying to get better out there, and working on the breaking ball, and working together with these guys. These guys are a lot of fun to work with, and defense behind me is great. We're going to be young this year, but I think it's going to work out.
Nice play by Brett Wallace at first base to take care of Jason Hayward. I know you're excited about the possibilities of spring training, but how about your Commodores, huh? NCAA tournament, I guess you got them in the pool, right?
Yeah, I got them. One of my brackets, I got them winning it. You got to do that. Yeah, you got to do that. But then my other bracket, I got them going, pretty far. But I don't know. They show up some days, and some days they don't.
Kind of like Murph.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
1 ball, no strikes to Drew Sutton. With the bases empty, Henry Sosa back out there for the Astros. Well, Mike, when's your next start?
Be Sunday here against the Orioles.
So we'll have that game. Do we have that game? No, we're on Saturday, tomorrow. So we won't be on Fox Sports South on Sunday. So good luck against the Battling Birds of Baltimore.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Mike Minor, thanks for joining us tonight. 7-4 game as Sutton digs in. 2-1 count.
Another good at bat for Jason, too. He almost beat that ball out to first base.
It looked like Wallace, thinking the ball was hit so hard, had plenty of time to get Hayward at first base. It was bang bang play down there. So, all right, guys, good signs that Hayward's hitting the ball hard again tonight.
Yeah, 3 solid at bats. Even that ball, the second at bat, he hit the center field. I thought he just missed it. Maybe would have gone a little farther without the wind. But 3 good at bats. And Joe, like you said, I like the fact that he ran the ball out. I mean, that's a little thing. It just shows that you're not discouraged. It's easy to do sometimes when you hit a ball at someone. You're a little frustrated. You just don't run a ball out. Jason can run a little bit. And so it's good to see him just playing hard.
Up the middle. Altuve at second. Great play to get to the ball. But Drew beats it out easily, and he has a 2-out infield hit.
He's been on base 3 times tonight. He's another guy that came to camp as a non-roster guy and got a few at-bats. Came in as a sub, got some hits. And he's getting a start tonight after Ugla had started a couple of games in a row. Gives Dan a night off, and Drew making the best of it.
Well, he's versatile, can play a couple different positions, plus being a switch hitter. You can get him in the lineup a little more often. Don't have to worry about who's starting. You don't have to take him out if he's in the game a little bit longer since he's a switch hitter.
Simmons bats. Anderton 0 for 2 tonight.
Talked about the Astros making deals last year, sending Bourne to the Braves, Hunter Pence to the Phillies. They also traded Jeff Keppinger, former Georgia Bulldog, to the Giants, and they got this guy in return, Sosa, who made 10 starts for him after he came to Houston.
And he goes 3-0 to Simmons. It's got to be a big question for the Astros. How much pitching is this club going to have? Remember, in the offseason, they thought about trading Wandy Rodriguez. Weren't able to do that. Didn't. He'll probably be their opening day guy. They're looking for arms far and wide if they can find them. They got a kid named Zach Cozart. He came over in that Hunter Pence deal from the Phillies. They like him a lot. He's a youngster. Pitched today in Double-A ball last year. He's a bright part of their future. Got Jay Happ as well in their rotation.
Got Zach Duke in camp too. He's one of the guys bidding for that 5th spot in the rotation. Jordan Lyles also in that mix. Again, it was an all call, casting call, if you will, for this ball club. He just joined us. 61 players in camp. That means 21 non-roster players were invited with some kind of an opportunity to make the club.
Ground ball to short. And Simmons and the Braves are down in inning number 5. We had the 6th. Good ball game. Braves up 3. Inning in Lake Buena Vista. Here's how we've gotten to this point with the Braves up by a 7-4 score. Tommy Hanson again started, went 3 innings, gave up 2 runs, 5 hits, one of them Jordan Schaefer's bouncing ball double that led to the first Houston run. But again, guys, for the second time we've seen on television, the Braves have played long ball in Orlando.
Got off to a great start in the first inning with this launch from Jason Hayward on a pitch down and in from Wandy Rodriguez. Grand slam. Then Michael Bourne comes back to get his old teammate. Another pitch that was down and in a little bit more.
Well, Michael Bourne, we've talked about it, how much fun it's going to be to have him the whole year. When he hits a home run, he gets on base. He loves stealing base, but he likes to trot every once in a while, so it's fun to see him get into one.
So as the Astros come up for the 6th inning, the Braves go into their bullpen again. It's left-hander Johan Flande out of the Dominican Republic. Johan went 8-8 last year, a 4.0 ERA, 33 games, 19 starts with AAA Gwinnett. Jed Lowry up for the 3rd time. And a 1-1 count. Braves will have split squad action tomorrow. Half the squad will head down to Port St. Lucie and take on the Mets. Chris Medlin will start that game. Joe Dale and I will be with you here at Disney for Brandon Beachy and the Toronto Blue Jays. That'll be a 1 o'clock airtime, 1:05 Eastern time start.
Blue Jays are going to have a good ball club. American League East, I think it'll be very competitive this year. And the Tampa Bay Rays might be the team.
There you go. He did not. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we'll see Tampa Bay this season in interleague play. Going over to Tropicana Field. The series with Joe Madden and his Rays. And Leonard high strike takes care of Lowry. He struck out looking for the 2nd time tonight. So 1 up, 1 down in the Houston 6th inning. Special offer for Braves fans out there. The first 1,000 fans to register for a state-issued Braves license plate before Wednesday get 2 free tickets to a 2012 Braves game. For more information on that nice looking state of Georgia license plate with the big red Braves A, go to braves.com/tags.
It's a pretty good deal. Not only you get a good tag, you get 2 free tickets.
Right?
Gotta like it.
You know, speaking of that interleague play, I know that we've seen it for a few years now. What I found out yesterday is that when the Astros go to the American League next year, there's going to be an interleague game series somewhere every day. And I think most people I talk to, fans of the game, they're not too excited about it. But to know that there's not going to be just a period of time, 2 or 3 weeks, when that interleague play happens, it's going to be happening throughout the season. So you got a chance of a contending team, the last series of the year, actually playing a team in the other league.
Yeah,
it's a little strange. I think it'll be good to get the Astros into the American League to even up the divisions, but it creates some weird things for interleague play.
Fly ball off the bat of Brett Wallace into right. If would you have liked to play in an era where there was interleague play?
You know, not really just to have it. I think that's just my problem with it is it's just kind of one of those things we have just to have, maybe generate a little interest. But most fans that I talk to feel like it did generate some interest. It's kind of run its course. One of the great things about baseball is having a balanced schedule. You always know who you're going to play and who you're competing against. They're playing the same teams. You know, in the NFL, if you win, your schedule changes to create that parity. I like it in baseball where everybody knows who they're playing. You're playing the same people, and at the end of the year, you can see who has the best record. It just, you can't do that.
You had enough of interleague play, Joe?
Yeah, I've been pretty, I think, vocal about that over the last 2 or 3 years. That I know the fans turn out for it, attendance-wise, they do come out. But I agree with Dale that I wish they had taken a break on it, had a little moratorium on it, and then make it even that much more special after a 2 or 3 year break. Come back with it. And this interleague series that will take place, at least one all year long, that's going to be different. We just have to wait and see how that's going to affect everything. And like Dale just alluded to, that doesn't necessarily mean each team's going to play the same level of competition all year long.
Well, I'm not sure. Is it true that the Braves play the Yankees and the Red Sox this year?
I do.
And have the Yankees twice,
yeah,
2
home
series.
And home.
It just doesn't seem right. This is the best way to put it. I think the wild card situation is, that's what's created interest in some great playoff situation and tension in September. To me, the interleague play is just an interesting thing to watch. But I love the change with the wild card.
And now we're going to have another one of those, apparently. A 1-game shootout between a second wild card and the wild card team. And the winner of that one game then would be the wild card representative, if you will, for the league.
Well, see, think of it this way. If there's 3 teams competing for those 2 wild card spots and they're in different divisions, there's no way they will have played an equal schedule. If there's a team in the National League East that's vying for one of those wild card spots and they've had to play the American League East, Toronto, Tampa, New York, Boston, it's not the same as one of the other divisions playing a weaker interleague schedule.
And to your point too, what if 2 of those teams play head to head down the stretch, and the third team, if all their records are the same in the final couple of days of the season, that third team's playing the American League and fighting for a National League wild card?
Yes.
You imagine the howls of protest we're going to have if that takes place, and it's possible.
Add to that the weirdness of having a DH and not having a DH.
Oh, don't get Joe started on that.
Well, not really. Not the DH. Yes, definitely the DH controversy, whether we want or not. But with interleague play, it's one thing that it should be unified, no question about it. You go to the World Series, and then you have You know, the American League City, you're having a DH and you change. But now during the season, you're constantly changing. You got American League pitchers hitting that haven't never hit before. It's just weird. It's just weird is the best way to put it. I don't like it.
I'll bet the Pirates wish they had a DH. A.J. Burnett got hurt trying to bunt when he got traded from the Yankees. That didn't work out well at all. The Atlanta Braves on Fox Sports South are brought to you in part by Honda Lawn and Garden. Back at Lake Buena Vista, Florida. Joe Simpson, Joe Murphy, Chip Carey with you. Good night tonight for the Braves. Kids are playing good ball tonight, having a good time on the berm as well. He's showing Dale how to roll down the hill, Joe.
Well, he's doing a better job than Dale did 2 days ago. Dale,
just do what you tell me, guys. I roll down the hill. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Oh, and thanks for the cookies tonight. Good work on the cookies. Thanks.
Came through for you?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He got here early tonight and kind of scouted out the place, find out where to find it.
David Carpenter is going to take over for Houston. He'll take Henry Sosa's place. Wandy Rodriguez started, gave up 8 hits, 7 runs tonight. Scott Moore in at first base. Wallace takes the rest of the night off. He had a good night tonight, by the way, did Wallace. Michael Bourne has hit a home run tonight. That was a 2-run shot in the 4th. He was the last man that Wandy Rodriguez faced.
Hard line drive the other way, even though it was foul, backed up their third baseman a little bit.
You know who used to abuse third baseman who would still play in shallow and still bunt that way for hits was your pal Brett Butler, who could do it as good as anybody.
You're right, Joe. Great swing going the other way. I don't know if there's anybody who worked harder on their bunting and could teach bunting more effectively than Brett Butler.
And for years it seemed like bunting, fellows, was a lost art in baseball. With the 90s era of Major League Baseball, you think it's starting to come back into vogue again?
I think so. I think, you know, the guys that can run are going to work on it. I know that it's a weapon. You got to know how to be able to put the ball down, bring that third baseman in. You not only got to learn how to bunt, but you got to work on hitting it the other way. I've seen guys that could bunt, but then they couldn't hit it the other way to take advantage of that drawn-in infield. The other day, Michael Bourne had a great single to left. You know, if he's going to hit a home run once in a while, well, that's great. But I know that his game is hitting it on the ground the other side and beating it out. His percentage of stealing, what I have is 61 stolen bases last year with only caught stealing 14 times.
Let's play at second. Quick release. And Bourne is out number 1 in the Atlanta 6th.
I don't think he had all 61 with Atlanta.
No.
In the 50s with Atlanta or something like that. But just that ratio is incredible. I was stunned when I saw that. I think one thing Michael probably working on a little bit, I think his strikeouts are a little high. For a leadoff hitter, I think he'd admit that. I think he's working on it down here.
Here's Martin. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. David Carpenter, a former Cardinal farmhand, a converted catcher. Trying to make it to the big leagues as a pitcher.
Cardinals are pretty good at that, aren't they?
Chris Perez, now the closer with the Indians, was a catcher.
Mott.
Jason Mott.
Did you say Mott? Did you say Lynn?
Mott.
I'm just making sure I heard it right.
Yeah.
There was a little mix-up in the World Series last year.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Worked out well for him, I guess.
Martin takes a shot to right, but it's caught for the second out. 2 outs, base is clear. Joey Tradoslavich is due for the Braves. Fans, get your tickets today for the Braves All-Stars versus Future Stars game, April 3rd at Coolray Field. Come see manager Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves battle former Braves skipper Bobby Cox and the team's brightest prospects. For tickets, visit braves.com/futurestars or call 678-277-0340. It'll be great to see Bobby back in the dugout. Trademark spikes. Gwinnett Braves uniform. It'll be the final exhibition for the Braves before they head north to New York. And here's Tradoslavich.
There's another at bat by Martin Prado that during the season you're mad for hitting one of those targets out there, but during spring training you're feeling really good about it.
Especially on that 95-mile-an-hour fastball that he took the other way.
That might be why Carpenter was converted. Got him from the Cardinals for Pedro Feliz. It was an August deal in 2010. And one would think that Jeff Luhnow, who was in the Cardinals front office at that time, knows of this young man's talents now that he's the general manager in Houston. High fly toward left center. And that will retire the Braves in the 6th. On we go to the 7th. 7-4 Braves in front. Top of the 7th inning, and Friends Sunday, NASCAR heads to Thunder Valley, where defending champion Kyle Busch and Daytona 500 champ Matt Kenseth will lead the world's best drivers onto the first short track race of the year as they chase the checkered flag. Fox Sports is proud to bring you exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing live from the Bristol Motor Speedway, Sunday, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Justin Ruggiano starts things off for Houston in the 7th. On Flande back out there for his 2nd inning. Jose Yepez in behind the plate. And a change in the outfield too. Out in left,
Louis Durango. I mean, it's just an old West name. He just walked through the swinging doors of the Long Branch Saloon.
Pop foul out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Although Johnny Venners, I think, has said it's more like a lounge act. Now performing in the Velvet Room, Louis Durango
with
and his band of renown. I don't know.
Upstairs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. So a little more than 2 weeks left in spring training. Fans who are just joining us tonight, where are the jobs available for this Braves ball club? Would a guy like Durango have a shot to make the club?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say there'd be a couple spots in the bullpen, maybe. Obviously the shortstop situation, then the bench situation as well. Still some good storylines to be played out here next little bit.
Full count to Ruggiano, and he's aboard.
And everybody's going to start facing starting pitchers for a few more at bats, so Freddie's going to be able to evaluate a little bit better his bench and the players that he's got to make some decisions on.
Is that a difficult part of spring training for everyday players, trying to mimic game situations in games where you see a pitcher once, maybe twice, and then guys in spring training you never see again?
Yeah, it sure is, and that's why no one really worries about things that happen the first, third, even the first little bit longer into spring training. You can't put too much stock in it. I mean, it is critical for the younger players, but for instance, a guy like Chipper, yeah, these statistics don't look great. Just don't worry about it. Just really don't. You just understand the situation, and you're trying to get ready that last week to 10 days, being healthy and ready to go.
Bourgeois hits it a mile high down the left field line, but well out of play, foul. Bourgeois. Hayward in right. One out.
It's interesting, too, when you look at the at-bats, the games played so far, and in a game where most of the regulars have taken the rest of the night off, that Jason Hayward's still out there. And he's been going 9 on a regular basis just to get more at-bats and to feel more comfortable with what they're working on, and hoping that the results help give him some more confidence, and the results have been good. At least 2 of the last 3 games.
Jack Cust, big slugger, trying to earn a spot on this roster for Houston. Down a quick strike.
I think Jason would be the first to say I need a lot of at-bats. You know, he knows where he's at and what happened last year. He wants to rebound back to that feeling he had in his rookie year. He needs at-bats. Hasn't got to the point where he's got a luxury where he can say, hey, a couple of bats is fine, and I'll go get my work in. He needs the at-bats, get his swing figured out, back on track, and get his confidence going as well. So far, so good, I think.
Cust hits it to center. That'll drop on the warning track. And everybody's safe second and third. The throw back to third. Jordan Perez just misplayed it in straightaway center field. The Astros in business with 1 out.
It's like he's saying to Jason the topspin got him, that he overran the ball a little bit. The topspin caused the ball to drop in front of him. But it also looked like he was drifting a little on this one too, Dale.
Yeah.
Turned around.
Yeah, I think the phrase you used, Joe, is exactly right. What we'd call drifting, instead of getting in your mind's eye where you think the ball is going to end up and running there as hard as you can. Drift and drift, and you don't want to drift when the wind's blowing.
Jimmy Paredes will bat with 2 on and 1 out. Braves up 7-4. And a slow roller. That'll bring home a run. Marciano scores to make it a 7-5 game. Cust to third with 2 outs. And here's Bogusevich. He's over 3. Bogusevich, the pride of Tulane University. He was drafted as a pitcher, and then they converted him to the outfield. Off the glove of Flande. And Freeman able to hold the bag with a wide throw from Sutton at second base. Houston pushes across another run. 7th inning stretch time. 7-5. 7-5 at the 7th inning stretch. Let's again check in with Jordan Whitley downstairs.
Well, a lot of our fans play baseball themselves, and I've got a little shout out to Freddie Freeman on Facebook. One of his fans, Ethan Nettles, just said this. He basically said, I used to watch you play against the Phillies last year, and it taught me how to play first base, and now I play it for my team. Well, that's awesome. And, I asked Freddie who he watched, and he said he studied J.T. Snow, the 6-time Gold Glove winner. So, Dale, Joe, who did you study before you made the big leagues?
Well, growing up, I loved to watch Willie Mays growing up, and then when I became a catcher, Johnny Bench. That was my guy.
My guy was Mickey Mantle, of course, because he was from Oklahoma and a center fielder. I never got to watch him play in person, unfortunately, but then after that, Bobby Mercer was also an Okie who got to the big leagues with the Yankees, and I love watching him play.
Can't do wrong with any of those choices. As you see Jose Yepez dig it in. Former farmhand with the Seattle Mariners. Jose Valdez, free agent signed by Houston at the end of the 2009 season, is on the mound. He's the 4th Astros pitcher tonight. Wandy Rodriguez started a long time ago. 7 runs, 8 hits, and 3 1/3 innings. Putting a grand slam to Jason Hayward. And Yepez with an opposite field single starts the Braves' 7th inning.
Somebody asked me the other day who was the first professional athlete I met. I think it was Johnny Bench.
Really?
Came out to Portland, Oregon. I was in high school. Came out and spoke to a banquet during the off season, and someone had mentioned to him that I was a prospect. He wished me good luck, and it was crazy a few years after that to dig in at Riverfront Stadium and know behind me was Johnny Bench. I just met 3 years earlier, so that was a big thrill.
How ironic. He was an Okie, too.
My mom's an Okie, too. So I mean,
is she?
Yeah, she is.
I didn't know that.
So, good night for Okies.
Freddie 1 for 3 tonight. He had an RBI single in the first inning. His second run batted in at the spring. Just a great rookie season for Freddie Freeman. Were not for the fantastic year of Craig Kimbrell, it might have been Freddie Freeman winning the Rookie of the Year in the National League last season. Still 21 homers, 76 RBIs, 282 average, and Joe already mentioned the terrific defensive work at first base.
I think we'd have to dig long and deep to find a guy who won the Rookie Triple Crown and didn't win Rookie of the Year.
That's a great point, Joe. I didn't even realize that till before the game when I saw that graphic that he had won the Rookie Triple Crown. You see his splits versus left-handed pitcher, right-handed pitchers. Not bad for a rookie. I'm sure he wants to bring it up, maybe cut down on his strikeouts as well. But all in all, what a way to break in. And you mentioned earlier, Joe, his defense. He's solid at defense already.
He picked a good guy to emulate, too. J.T. Snow is outstanding over there.
Valdez wants to talk things over. What's the mindset difference between a first-year player and a second-year player, especially when you've had the success that Freddie Freeman had last year, fellas?
Well, I think the first thing is you can come to spring training and actually work on something. Think about that approach, and if you want to think about pacing yourself a little bit more, that first year you're worried about making the club and all those kinds of things. So it's a little bit more relaxed.
I know you talked about with Chipper in our interview with him on Wednesdays, the speed of the game. At this point, I would imagine the game slowed down for Freddie Freeman, whereas maybe March of last year was a billion miles an hour for him.
Yeah, I think so. Just come down more confident. You've got a year under your belt. You know your way around the league. Just comfort level, and psychologically, that's a big deal.
Ross pops it out of play, foul for a strike.
And I'm not trying to place any limitations on him by any means, but some guys who have that really successful good first year then think they've got to be great. They think their numbers have got to almost double from what they were the year before, and that's not the case. Just remain who you are, do what you do best, Had a good year with the long ball. Doesn't mean you have to hit 35 this year. In fact, I think Freddie's at his best, and I think he would agree when he's hitting it between gap to gap. That's when he's on the ball the best.
That's a good point, Joe. With his success, you don't have to add more pressure to it. Just relax and know that you can do it. He's going to improve just naturally.
Yeah.
Just the experience. He's got the tools. Made it through his rookie year. Just go from there.
He'll have a year under his belt of knowing pitchers and their tendencies, be able to watch video and remember that this is the way this guy worked me last year a couple of times. I'll be ready for him this time.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
I talked about this 2 days ago about how it seems like every club's got 2 or 3 guys like this. Carpenter was in there last inning throwing 95. That pitch from Valdez was 96. Everybody's loading up with hard throwing arms.
I think Greg Walker mentioned it earlier in our interview. It's a tough era to hit it. A lot of guys throw hard, and that pitch, the cutter, is something that I dealt with a little bit, but not that much. And I've talked to Chipper about it, and he's faced pitchers with cutters his whole career. That's a challenging pitch.
Miles hit by a pitch. First and second, 1 out.
On that back arm. Hopefully just a glancing blow. He's been on base 3 times again tonight.
Yep. First and second for Jason. And if you joined us late, you missed this in the very first inning tonight.
This is really the first of 3 hard hit balls by Jason tonight. It was a grand slam in the first, but he hit a deep fly to center his next at bat and then almost undressed Brett Wallace at first with a hard grounder his last time up. Wallace made a good play on him.
Speed pitch had Jason in front, 0-2. And another one.
96 to 84. That's a pretty good difference between his fastball and his changeup.
You got to tip your cap there. This is really good off-speed pitch, great location. Jason doesn't want to do that, but overall you got to come back tonight and say, no, this is okay.
Yeah,
this is okay.
Good night.
Drew Sutton's been on base 3 times, 2 hits, a walk, and a run.
Every once in a while they're going to make a good pitch on you. Just every once in a while.
You have to really dig deep to throw that credit out there, don't you?
Popped up. And that will retire the Braves in the home half of inning number 7. Valdez no trouble in the inning. Braves still up 2. Florida, hurry, get your seats for opening day, April 13th. It's presented by PNC Bank. Take in the opening day festivities and stay for Friday night fireworks presented by Publix. Tickets are on sale now at Braves.com/tickets or by calling 800-745-3000. Fellas, speaking of fireworks, how about the performance from the Braves right fielder these first 2 televised games of spring training? Way to go, Jace.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
How's it feeling down there?
I'm not too happy about the way that last at bat went, but timing felt great today.
Well, now, Dale just said sometimes when they make good pitches on you like that, you got to tip your cap. Were you ready to tip your cap there?
No, I'm still not ready to tip my cap.
Well, that's why I'm retired and you're still playing. No, that's a great attitude, Jason. You never ever want to give in. Never ever give him credit.
No, not at all. But no, he did make 2 good pitches, and I wish I would hit the first one.
Yeah, that's what I've always noticed. And sometimes when I struck out, it wasn't the last pitch that made me so mad. It was the pitch I missed.
Exactly.
Usually during an at bat, you get a pitch to hit somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And right there, runners in scoring position, you want to be ready to hit the first good one you get. And but I mean, it's also tough, given the fact that I hadn't faced that guy before, hadn't seen him, and they brought 3 guys out of the pen throwing 95, 96.
Yeah.
So gotta give him some credit.
You hit the ball on the nose 3 times tonight, though. All good signs.
Yeah, no, good signs. My third AB, I believe, when I grounded the first, I felt like my timing was really there when I was able to get my foot down and see a cutter come inside all the way in, and then watch the pitch all the way in, and not really swing through it. So it was a good night.
Yeah, you almost took Brett Wallace into right field with that ball to first base.
I probably should have. Now I would have made the first base safely. So.
Yeah, but the umpire would have called you out. He called Chipper out, remember?
That's pretty tough, too. I mean, we all saw him not touch him. Carlos Lee was going to get the ball back to the pitcher. But, hey, it's spring training.
That's right for everybody.
How's your working relationship with Greg Walker? I'm sure it's different with a different guy in your second or third full major league season now.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a different person every year, to be honest with you, for me, as far as professional ball goes. But Walker's been awesome. I think everybody's taking him in, and he's really a player's coach. He's here to cater to you and Scott Fletcher as well. Whatever you want to bring to the table that day with them, they'll shoot it right back at you. And more is less, or you want to get in there and do less is more. Either way you want it, they're ready to go to work.
Long fly out off the bat of Jed Lowry for out number 1.
How much did you change your off-season workouts this winter?
I added a lot of running, changed a little bit of eating, and added a lot of running.
What's your theory, Jason, there? Why running? What came to mind there? What spurred that thought?
Man, I missed 3 weeks, I believe 3 weeks last year in 2011, and I wasn't really in baseball shape when I got back on the field. So I wanted to make sure I was in the best shape possible coming into 2012 in the spring. And I also came to spring training last year 256 pounds. And, I mean, anybody will say it, you didn't look big or fat or out of shape or anything, and I wasn't. But I've never been a bulky person, never been that type of player. I've always been, lean, lanky, athlete, quick and explosive in the outfield, and, real handsy hitter, not a person who's going to muscle up and hit the ball. And, I mean, if you look at my first AB, you'll see I didn't muscle up too much. It was just short and quick. So that's what I wanted to implement into my offseason workouts.
What do you weigh now?
Right now I'm 235, so.
Quite a difference.
Yeah, quite a big difference.
Yeah, save the pudgy days for your broadcasting career.
No, I can't do that. If I do that, I got to make sure I'm lean and mean, because I'm not, no knock against you guys, but HD makes everybody pay attention to how you're looking on TV.
We know that. We're working on it.
That's why we say soft focus. Yeah. Jason, was it tough turning the page? I mean, look, you had a great rookie year. You had a rough second year. Was it tough putting that to bed, turning the page, and getting back to what Jason Hayward felt he needed to do this year?
And I'll say the rookie year was okay for me. It was good. I saw a lot of positive out of it, but I didn't get complacent. That's a part of why I got so active in the workroom, in the weight room going into 2011 season, and that's where the extra weight came from. A little more muscle, not being complacent. And going into 2011, I said, hey, we made the playoffs last year in 2010. Let's go further. Let's get better. Let's get more than 277, 18, and 72. Let's do better. So for me, as far as turning the page last year, it was like half and half. It wasn't easy, but at the same time, you have to get over the hump and use it all as motivation going forward. And it's been awesome. It's been a blast. I've had probably the most fun of my life working off the field in the game of baseball.
Speaking of turning the page, how hard has it been for you guys as a team to just get that bad taste out of your mouth from September and move forward? As a group, are you guys really focused on just this year and getting it behind you?
Yeah, I mean, all we can focus on is today. Today's game, we're up 7-5 against the Astros in spring training right now. And we all know what we're working towards. We all know we have that goal of going late in the postseason, making the postseason, not having a collapse, so to speak, and just kind of, getting our foot in the door. After we do that, I would say the taste will be out of our mouths then.
Well, Jason, that's a sign of a successful athlete when he uses something good that it happens to motivate him, and when he uses something that's not so good to motivate him. Whatever happens, you use it to motivate you to get better.
We've got to, the game of baseball, you're set up to fail. You go 3 for 10, you're a Hall of Famer. So that's 7 times you're not doing great. And it's about how you handle that and go into the next day, next game, next year.
Shoulders good, legs are good.
Shoulders good, legs are good, body's good. Time is coming along at the plate. 2.5 weeks in or what have you down here in spring training. So I'm having a great time working and getting back to where I want to be. And I think everybody, as a group, is having a great time getting back to where we want to be.
Well, you've had 2 great games on TV. I just want to let you know we're on TV again tomorrow. So, you might want to talk to Freddie about being in there again tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you a little secret. I mean, night games are awesome in spring training because you get a little more sleep than we've been getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to catch an 8 o'clock bus on the road. So that was almost complete opposite of what we do during the regular season. So, a little extra sleep, a little extra early work in at home, and does a lot of good.
Well, Jace, get your rest tonight. Great to see you back on the air with us. And we wish you and the ball club, obviously, all the best coming up in 2012.
I appreciate it. Miss you guys. It's good to see you again.
You too, Jason. Jason Hayward. 2 big games for the Braves down here in spring training here on Fox. And Braves winning again tonight. That youngster having a good time tonight. Braves kids have had a good evening as well. Boy, it was great to see Jason. He looks to be in great spirits and swinging the bat real well these last couple of days down in sunny Florida. Braves fans come enjoy the free Braves open house. March 31st it'll be. Fans can enjoy free Scouts Alley games, clubhouse tours, and kids get to run the bases. The Braves will also host a Waffle House charity breakfast served by Braves alumni. Visit braves.com/open house for more details. Andrelton Simmons starts off the Braves' 8th inning, 7-5. Atlanta in front. Braves with 11 hits.
Wesley Wright on the mound for the Astros now. We've seen him, got a start or 2 against the Braves last year. He's been up and down with their organization. 21 games in all last year. Pretty good numbers.
I thought it was an interesting point Jason made about getting up early in the morning. I don't think people understand that spring training day game, you got to be here at 8. You got to get up at 6. Sometimes you're on the bus for a couple hours before the game. These night games are a good break.
Simmons down on strikes. 1 away in the 8th. And the Braves will start the year against the Mets in regular season play with 3 straight day games. Remember the Braves ever having 3 straight games in the sunshine to start a year.
Well, not only that, an off night in New York, another off night in New York.
Make sure the credit card's paid off, pal. And then it's down to Houston before we get home for the aforementioned opening night ceremonies down in Atlanta. Turner Field. You'll make your plans. Join us. Evan Gaddis, the batter. And a high hopper to Lowry. Almost took his head off. 2 out.
He's smooth over there, isn't he? No rush or panic in him. Of course, that's because it's Brian Bixler.
Oh.
He's very smooth as well. He just came in right before that pitch, Chip.
He did?
Yes. I don't know if you noticed.
That's why we missed it. Thanks for that. So it's Bixler, not Lowry. A lot smoother than Jed, apparently.
No.
Here's the Durango kid. Ball 1 high to Luis. Speaking of kids, a new addition to the Murphy family, we understand.
Well, yeah, we've had an exciting week in the Murphy family for welcoming girls. With my son Jake proposing to his girlfriend Ariane Ingersoll on the same day at 12:01 midnight last Thursday. The Murphy family had a baby girl granddaughter, Penelope May Murphy.
Awesome.
To my son Tyson and my daughter-in-law Val. So welcome another Murphy girl. The Murphy girls are rarities. So we're excited to have another grandbaby, and it's a girl, Penny Murphy.
And as much as your wife wanted to hang around and watch you broadcast, she made a beeline home, didn't she?
She sure did.
See that grandbaby.
Couldn't wait.
Well,
So,
congrats.
Thank you for giving me a chance to mention that. Thank you. Big week for us.
3 balls and a strike to Louis Durango. Bixler, deep short. No chance.
Guys, just thinking about that road trip to New York and then Houston. Team stays in downtown Houston. Can there be a more stark contrast between the two downtowns? Going from New York to Houston?
Good point. And you made a great point before the broadcast tonight. After that 3-game series on the road in Houston, Braves will only see the Astros in 3 more games before they're no longer in the National League anymore. And for years, the Braves and Astros had a great rivalry in the National League West. Durango swipes second.
Got spiked too, I think.
Says he's all right.
Got a late start too, but still stole it. Oh yeah, came right down on his ankle.
Joey Jadoslavich, the batter, with a 1-ball count. Braves and Houston guys also had great rivalries in postseason play too. So that'll all go by the boards in 2013 season when Houston joins the American League West.
Although I'd welcome that.
Well, that's true.
Play him in the World Series that way.
That'd be great.
This guy's a nephew of a real good hitter for Boston for years, Mike Greenwell. I think he won a batting title one year for the Red Sox. So he's got some good genes, and I'm sure got some good instruction as a young man.
Well, third basemen in the Braves organization now have a little motivation. Obviously, Chipper, we all know that someday, we don't know exactly when, but at least you know there's going to be an opening there sooner rather than later. So, Jadoslavich, did I get that right?
That's close enough.
Yeah, it's spring training. It's okay.
We're not going to make you do it again.
Oh, man. Jadoslavich. I think he's looked great. From both sides of the plate, I think he's been smooth at third. And he's motivated. He knows Chipper's situation. And there's an opportunity there. Like we say, we don't know exactly when, but it's better to be a third baseman now in this organization than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Agreed.
Jose Yepez, the batter. And he's got a single to right field. Durango around third. He will score standing up. Big insurance run for Jose Yepez. He singles home the 8th Atlanta tally of the night. It's an 8-5 score.
Well, another good at bat by him. Second base hit to right field. And I just love this speed on second base. A well hit ball with no chance of throwing him out.
And as we like to say in those situations, yippee, Yepez.
And he's on me. 8-5. 13 Atlanta hits. Ernesto Mejia, the batter. Checked in for Freddie Freeman an inning ago. Again, quick turnaround for us. We're back on the air for you tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Braves will play the Toronto Blue Jays here at Disney. It'll be a split squad game. Half the club will stay here in Orlando. The other half will head down to Port St. Lucie to take on the Mets. Chris Medlin will face Jonathan Neese. And that one all the way to the backstop. And Tadaslovic will score standing up. So Wright having some trouble in the 8th inning. A wild pitch.
Corporon, the new catcher, went down like he was going to try to just keep that from getting through him, and it took a huge bounce over him.
1 ball, 1 strike. Good cut. But Ernesto fouls it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mentioned a couple of times Houston's rough year last year. You guys seen how their schedule starts? Home with the Rockies and Braves. They go to Miami and Washington. Come home, play the Dodgers. Go to Milwaukee. Go to Cincinnati. Then end April with the Mets before they get the Cardinals and the Miami Marlins. That gets them through May the 9th.
That's rough sledding there. Got to have a lot of patience if you're that man, and he has had over the last couple of years.
Mejia hits it a ton to left. Will the ballpark hold it? It will. Ernesto just missed. But the Braves add 2 more runs in the 8th inning. 9-5 heading to the 9th. Braves after 8. Atlanta trying to win its 3rd spring training game of the year. Jay Chapman will try to wrap things up. Those were his numbers at Gwinnett.
Better than a strikeout per inning pitched. Good stuff.
Not a safe situation, but a chance to salt this one away for the Braves. Let's check in a final time downstairs with Jordan.
Well, we just want to put a little challenge out there to the longtime Braves fans to educate the new Braves fans on the storied history of Atlanta Braves pitching. So here we have it from A.J. Wrights, who's Andy Johnson of Fox Sports South. We want to know, Braves fans, who do you think is the greatest Braves closer of all time? Guys, I'll let you begin that debate.
Well, my first thought is Gene Garber, just because I know he's got a lot of saves with the Atlanta Braves and career-wise. Lucky to play with Gene. He's going to be down here, I think, in a few days. That's my first thought, Joe.
And mine is John Smoltz and what he did in really a short period of time, a short window as the closer. He just had an incredible season, 1 year, 55 saves. Right. And that's with all due respect to Mark Wohlers, who I thought was terrific, too.
I think Craig Kimbrell has a chance to, if he can stay healthy and continue to develop, to be as good, if perhaps not even better than all 3 of those guys that you all mentioned. That's a good question.
One for good debate.
That's really one area where the game has changed, hasn't it? The era of specialization in Major League Baseball Managers like to feel like they have the ninth inning wrapped up if they've got the lead. You manage the game almost backwards from the ninth inning forward. Major League Baseball now. What a luxury it is to have a Craig Kimbrell at the end of your bullpen.
Well, it goes back to what Greg Walker was talking about, and Dale agreeing with him about how hard it is to hit these days when you got a fresh arm coming out about the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and everybody just throwing a million miles an hour, or maybe has some specialty pitch that's hard to hit. So you don't even get a look at the guy twice. You only get to see him once.
Absolutely, Joe. You face a starter, 2 at bats, and then you got some two, and sometimes 3 other pitchers.
Joe Thurston
makes it real tough. I know pitchers in the quote-unquote old days talk about how many innings they pitched. I would much rather face a great starter 4 or 5 at bats than facing someone twice and then going to these guys that got this electric stuff coming out of the pen.
Thurston didn't get it. He swings over the top. He's the first out in the top of the 9th inning. So, Jordan, you have a response for what we were talking about?
Yes, we've got a lot of responses on Twitter as well as on Facebook. And one of you guys agrees with our friend on Facebook, Smoltz by a landslide, followed by Wagner and then Kimbrell. You couldn't touch Smoltz in his prime, even though you just knew he was bringing the heat. And that is from Ken Graham. And I've got to agree, me and my little brother still have the 4 Aces poster from '95. We loved us some John Smoltz when he was back in the rotation. Fellas?
Good stuff there, Jordan. And, Billy Wagner's one of the all-time greats in baseball as a closer. He just wasn't here long enough for us to rank him with those other guys among the Braves, but his influence still being felt with his influence on Craig Kimbrell, which is wonderful.
That's a great point. Yeah, he was first guy on the phone with Craig after things didn't go well for the Braves in September last year. And that's really the nature of that job, is it not? You turn the page and move on because tomorrow's another opportunity. And so Billy Wagner, a former Astros great, pitched with the Mets, the Braves, Phillies. Such a huge part of the development of the Craig Kimbrells and the Johnny Venters, the Chris Medlins of the Braves pitching world. Hope Billy's doing well and maybe even watching the game tonight. That was a nasty pitch. Reggiano down on strikes.
I think Billy Wagner is the ultimate teammate. Knows that what he does out there are his stats, but also understands that he can help other people improve their stats and their performance by sharing some of his knowledge. And now, even after he retires, still feels a responsibility and a connection. Great teammate.
J.B. Shuck is hitting for Houston.
His friends call him all.
It's the 9th inning at 9 o'clock, game 2.
It's a long year, isn't it, buddy?
1 ball, 1 strike. Little roller toward Mejia. And that'll do it. Braves win and beat the Astros by a final score of 9-5. Well, a lot of good things to talk about all the way around for Atlanta tonight. Tommy Hanson, a good start. Braves played long ball again with Jason Hayward, and they earned their 3rd win of spring training 2012. 9-5 our final. Back with more in a second.